Hello, I'm Michelle Roques O'Neil. I'm the Quantum Healer and welcome to my new YouTube channel. I'm just here in my studio just off the Portobello Road, London, and it's a sweltering day. We've got a mini heat wave at the moment, and to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying it. We haven't seen very much of the sun this year. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of what I do and who I am. I have worked with essential oils for over 4 decades, and I actually was introduced to them through therapy. I trained as an aromatherapist with one of the foremost aromatherapists in the world, Micheline Arcier. And I worked with her for 5 years as her apprentice. And to be honest with you, it was a really fabulous apprenticeship in which I was introduced to the more esoteric or metaphysical properties of essential oils. And this really, I suppose, ignited a real passion about finding out more about this more energetic side of essential oils. So for the next few years, that's exactly what I did. You know, I worked with Robert Tisseron and many other quite well-known aromatherapists to understand their approach. But for me, something was always missing. There wasn't enough information about the energetic side of the oils. Now, a little bit later, sort of in 2004, I developed quite a passion for perfumery, and I wanted to study natural perfumery, and I did this with a lady called Mandy Afdel, who is an absolute inspiration to me. I went to her studio in San Francisco, in Berkeley, 3 times in total, and studied with her. And for me, this was very pivotal because I started to get a little bit bored with traditional aromatherapy, and working with her suddenly liberated me. I don't know whether it was a combination of San Francisco, which is a very kind of can-do sort of place, but the combination of her and the way she blended and her knowledge of the oils and her kind of very poetic way of describing them really ignited something so passionate in me. So by the time I came back to London, I was ready to create a whole new way of expressing my aromatherapy language, and that I've poured into my newest range, which is called Quantum Alchemy, and it really kind of encapsulates everything I've done to this present moment, one of which is Reiki. I trained in Reiki back in the 90s, and I did it initially just for myself. I wanted something that put a bit of energy back into me. And as a result, I found it slowly embedded itself in my treatments, and I found that it was really helping, particularly my own energy levels when I was giving treatments. I wasn't getting so drained and tired. I did both Reiki 1 and 2 in the 90s and then left it. And then it wasn't until about 2002 I decided to do my Reiki Master, mainly because I was teaching people by then, and I wanted to incorporate that into my, I guess, my portfolio of things that I did. Now, the thing about Reiki, when I did my Reiki Master, it was another pivotal moment for me, a huge accelerator that actually awakened my psychic ability even more. It also created greater sensitivity in me, and so I found within the context of treatments, my treatments had become more healing than hands-on massage, and I started to move much more into an energetic way of working. This also affected the way that I created products, because I started to use Reiki in the way that I prepared my raw materials, but also what I infused to the end at the end of making up the products. And I think when I talk to people about other ranges I've had, they all say there's a kind of potency to them that's almost alive, that they can't describe and they haven't found in other products. So I'm kind of really proud of that. Another dimension that I add to the way I create products is numerology. It's something that I did back in the 80s, but I worked with a very unique numerologist who basically created a form that worked on being able to chart the energetic pattern of the body. So it's a very, very powerful modality that initially I used in my treatments, and then I transferred the way I looked at the numbers into the way I formulated, using the vibrational aspect of numbers when I would start to mark down my formulation. And again, this is something that I think really brought another unique dimension to the way that I work. Now, as you can imagine, and I've only talked about a few things, that my toolkit is fairly expansive. You know, one of the things that I've done again since about the late 80s has been Qigong, and I found there was a really direct correlation with Qigong and Reiki. Qigong is a movement meditation technique. It predates Tai Chi, and it works with the vital flow of energy in your body and outside your body. Basically, when you do Qigong exercises, you're massaging your energy system, and you're cleansing it and you're purifying it. And in a way, I guess both Reiki and Qigong are quite quantum in their experience, because they're working with subtle energy. You know, the way the Chinese describe Qi is as matter on the energy on the verge of becoming matter. So you can't exactly see it, but you can feel it. And really, I think, you know, in a way, a lot of these older traditions like Ayurveda and Buddhism actually have a lot of their concepts very embedded in a whole quantum understanding of the world. And when you think they're very, very old traditions, you know, I think we've got a lot to learn from them. I've also done sound therapy. It's quite recently. I did it just before 2020, and I particularly enjoyed working with the Tibetan bowls, singing bowls and tuning forks. I mean, we obviously learned other modalities, but I felt we skipped through them too quickly for me to really resonate with them. And you know, it's an interesting thing. Music has been a very potent element in my life. My parents were musicians. My mum was a singer. I love singing. I have listened to music all my life, from jazz to classical music to indie folk music. I just love all of it. And it's no coincidence that I then latched on to sound healing. And that has been really profound. I use it in my treatments, but I also use it when I blend. I try to bring in the vibration of sound into the quality of the finished oil. So as you can see, there are many kind of energetic traditions that I bring to what I do. And if any of it's really piqued your interest, and there's anything specific you want to understand, I'd ask you to please follow us, to like us, and to subscribe. And if there are any questions you want to ask me, if there's anything specific you'd like me to talk about, then please drop it into the comments. I really need your guidance at the moment. It's the first time I've done anything like this, but I hope you'll enjoy what I have to say. See you soon. Bye.